Good evening, everyone. This is the March 23rd, 2026 City Council meeting of the City of Crescent Springs. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, we come here this evening to do the work of the city. Please put in our hearts and our minds what's best for our residents, our businesses, and those that visit our city. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Roll call, please.
Mark Wittenberger. Jeff Smith.
Here.
Bob Mueller.
Here.
Don Kiley.
Here.
Janine Dust Smith. Present. Carol McGowan. Here.
Thank you. Next order of business, approval of the February 23rd, 2026 minutes. You all have received those in your packets.
Make a motion to approve.
Roll call, please.
Mark Wittenberger.
Yes.
Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Don Kiley. Yes. Janine Dust Smith. No. Carol McGowan. Yes.
Thank you. And in regards to Councilperson McGowan sitting down there, it's out of an abundance of caution due to a medical issue that was a little over a week ago, and that is why she is masked and sitting isolated by herself, but will be attending the meeting, obviously. Next, fire authority report. Chief Wendt.
Good evening. I'll be very, very brief as usual. 81 fire calls for the month, 176 year to date, 112 ambulance calls, 234 year to date. The only other thing I have is the volunteer fire department itself has decided to fund a cancer screening program for all of our volunteers and paid firefighters, including our retired group. This is a plan that is put out by St. Elizabeth that screens firefighters for different types of cancer. We had some money left over from fundraising and decided that it was a worthy cause to protect our firefighters. So that will be paid for by the volunteer fire department. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you to the volunteer fire department.
Absolutely.
Hey, Chief, just one question. Regarding last couple weeks ago caucus, you stated that your staff is 7 full-time, correct? Is that mandatory through the state?
No.
Or is that just per capita and for the fire department?
That is what our insurance rating and what I feel is best to staff our city.
Okay.
2 cities.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Hall.
Good evening, everybody. For the month, we had 1,168 total calls for service. For all calls, 61% of them were in Crescent Springs and 39% were in Villa Hills. For just mere dispatch calls, 58% was in Crescent Springs and 42% were in Villa Hills. We investigated 9 crimes, had 20 traffic collisions, issued out 78 citations, 132 warnings, had 4 JC3 or domestic reports, and 1 e-crisis report. Criminal investigations, Detective Sergeant Lucas, he was able to sign out 4 warrants for criminal complaints on suspects to close out some cases. He did respond to 1 fire with the Kitten County Arson Investigation Team in Erlanger that was deemed to be accidental. For our monthly training for the department, we focused on our chapters 21.1 through 21.4, which is our vehicle operations. For our canine, he is credited with 1 deployment, 1 arrest, and 1 charge, and he had 11 hours of training. For the month, we had 34 and a half hours of overtime, most of that being in court overtime. At last week's, my last notation I'll have, at last week's Villa Hills Council, I was able to present Officer Cinquinelli and Snyder with our Life Saving Award for an incident that occurred on January 22nd of this year. Officer Cinquinelli made a traffic stop for a speeding vehicle on southbound 75. Officer Snyder was quick to assist him on the traffic stop. Making contact with the driver, it was learned that the operator was trying to find the nearest hospital because his 1.5-year-old child was in the back suffering a seizure actively. EMS was requested, and they Due to the location where they were on southbound 75, Erlanger was the closest responding EMS. They advised they were going to have to go to Buttermilk Pike, turn around, and come back. The child developed agonal breathing and was going in and out of consciousness. So Officer Ciccanelli and Snyder decided that Officer Snyder actually grabbed the 18-month-old, grabbed him in the arms, got in the rear of Officer Ciccanelli's vehicle, secured the airway for the child, and they proceeded to St. Elizabeth, Florence, which was the closest hospital. They were notified the hospital ahead of time. They were met outside by hospital staff, and they are credited with, without their quick intervention, that child was likely to perish. So they were awarded the life-saving award from myself and from the city. So
Excellent.
congratulations to
Thanks for
them.
that.
But that is my report.
Thank you. Director Miller.
Good afternoon. Just a few quick things here. Duke Energy is scheduled to do some replacement poles on Audrey, Hazelwood, Nordman, Eden, Western Reserve, and Ferncliff in the next couple months. We applied for a safety grant. We got some new cones and barrels for the city, and the grant's 50-50, so we'll get some money back from that. Park operations, the park is open. The restrooms are open now. You will see us over there doing a lot of repairs if needed and getting ready for spring mulch and things like that. We did have some street lights over there that need to be replaced, so I'm working on getting some estimates right now to get the city street light or the playground lights taken care of and up to date. The street light over here on Buttermilk, I'm sure you guys have seen, that hasn't been fixed yet, so I talked to Duke and they said that it is on their list and they'll get to it as soon as they possibly can. The part-time parks guy will return on April the 3rd, and our seasonal guys will return on April the 6th. And the current projects that are still on the current RFP in progress should start here soon, and that's Crescent Avenue, the railroad parking lot, and Short Amsterdam. So that should start in the next month or so. As you guys know, we have been actively going around making sure all the potholes are fixed, all the maintenance is taken care of before summer comes, where we can get some hot mix and take care of other locations. So that's all I have right now.
Before you sit down,
Yes.
I have it in my report, so in the middle, let's get it out of the way. On Meadowood Drive, is there any more discussion that is needed on this subject?
I guess I'll start. So what's the plan with Bill Hills on that project?
They are gonna meet with me, their chairperson of the Public Works Committee. I think it's gonna be a virtual meeting. He said that, tentatively, they didn't plan on having it on their budget for 26, 27. So we're going their budget for 27, 28.
How many lots are still left back there?
It's about 75% on that last street, right?
Yeah.
About 50%, 50 to 75%.
Yes.
It's close. I'd say by the end of summer, it's going to be
50 to 75%
pretty
complete.
well built out, yes.
Just on that last street, though, he's articulating to, not overall.
Our goal, Tanya and I, and, Greg Sketchin talking and working, is to put Meadowood Drive on the 26, 27 budget
Yeah.
for our replacement. But that question, I want to pose to you guys. Is this something you guys want to wait for Bill Hills, or you want to go ahead and just do our portion and that's it? Because if they don't do it in 26, 27, they're not going to do it until 27, 28.
I think we need to price it out to see what it's gonna be, when we go together. I mean, I don't think it can wait another year or two.
And I spoke up in the email regarding, I believe there is an actual spring underneath that street.
Yes.
Yes, some people will agree,
Yes.
because it's been a mess for decades. And I think that's one of the main things that needs to be addressed, of course. But
We would
regardless if,
Yeah.
we do it on, we fix ours first and they do theirs, we need to
have something there that will stop that water from
That's
coming
in
out
the
of
plan.
our.
Yeah, that's definitely in our plans. Yeah.
Isn't it kind of choppy how you break down the street
The portion,
itself?
yes, yeah.
Because Craig Sketch presented it to us, and I really haven't talked to Craig Bowman about this idea, where we would take a half
Yeah,
and
just kind of make it even, like
Villa Hills
straight
would take a
across.
half, and it would be even.
Yeah.
But I'll let you guys know how the meeting goes with Seth from Villa Hills, and then I've already talked to Craig. I mean, over the years, we've discussed streets that cross paths between both cities.
And we have,
Sometimes it's, you know, it would be worthwhile for us to do it at one time.
it's cheaper normally if you do it at one time. And we
Right.
understand that the road is rough. I mean, we're definitely been on it for a while now and kept on it, and, you know, we understand and we agree. Well,
I mean, a few years back, I think it was like 5 years ago, we had that portion
the patch,
going into where the Wessel subdivision, that sign is. There was not just the patch, there was a portion that was resurfaced.
oh, yes, you are correct.
But I mean, as you see with all the construction traffic, as everybody knows, I mean,
It's a highly traveled road.
it is. And I've mentioned it before, Meadowood Drive and Crossings Drive and Wood Hill Drive and Western Reserve Road, that main infrastructure definitely, you know, once this traffic from construction has ceased, these are definitely the spots we have to look at,
Yes,
for
sir.
sure. Matter of fact, some of them may be on this upcoming 26, 27 budget, and that's something we also need to talk about as a group. You know, how much money are we willing to put towards roadways for 26, 27? You know, last year I asked if we could move it up to 200,000, and honestly, I can move it up to 400,000 and be even more productive. But ultimately, that's up to you guys. But I think it's most probably, you know, one of those top 3 things for you guys as council members and the mayor and our residents as well, so.
But it's intuitively attractive to think we do it at the same time. Ideally, if it's cheaper, and ideally to maintain the least amount of traffic disruption. But that's intuitively attractive. It's financially stupid or logistically stupid, then no. But I mean, waiting until that construction time just feels like again, instinctively attractive thing, but
Sure.
maybe that's not right. You know.
I will continue to communicate with Craig, and obviously when I have that meeting with Seth and Craig, I'll let this group know through email how things went.
Reach out to the Fisher folks and see how far they are to, you know, are they, you know, on the entire project, how many, percentages aren't really important. It's the number of houses that's important. How many more lots do they have to excavate? How many more do they have foundations and, you know, now we're building walls, and how many are we in the finished stages?
Okay.
I know there's 15. I
You
believe.
counted it the other day.
Yeah, when I talked to the guy at Fisher, there was 15 empty, but that doesn't mean that there weren't houses on them. They just weren't sold yet. They were, you know, so that's a good, I could break it down like that. I can get a hold of him and see.
Yeah, I want to know how many are yet to be excavated, how many
Okay.
are in the just started, we poured the foundation, because the concrete is the heaviest
Yeah.
part until you get to the final stages of, you know, bringing in mulch and furniture with your movers and everything. So those 3 sections are what I'd like to know.
Okay.
I think Mark makes it, I think where you were going with this was, no matter how many are left, all that traffic still has to come all the way out from the back street. So I mean, it's gonna be on that, all the infrastructure that went into the reserve and Meadowwood, Wood Hill crossing.
Right, but if it's 5 that have left to be, that are empty lots, then or we have 25, that, to me, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Plus, we could discuss and plan if we see that there's the buildup slowed down, we could always wait till spring, but
Right.
it's definitely, I think, I mean, from what we can see and what we're calculating, we would like to put it on this upcoming budget.
for sure. I would be highly surprised if they're finished building by the fall.
I would agree. I walk back there, it still seems that there's a lot going on and a lot to do, but I don't have any of the numbers.
In the interim, good discussions with Villa Hills, maybe potentially talk about some spot repairs, maybe some, and full depths what needs to be done over there, due to the mud pumping up from the surface. But, just some of the worst spots could really use some attention right now. You
And
guys
that-
are having more than I do, and I mean, you know how to.
And that is an idea. Why don't we wait and see, where this discussion goes? But you're correct, if it's delayed, it's more of a long-term. This may be something Tanya and Buck from Villa Hills, maybe something you want to chat about and maybe come up with a plan. And a cost, obviously. We really don't want
Exactly.
to put a lot of cost into something if we're going to turn around a few months later and
Tear it up.
do the
Yes.
research. But I know you understand.
I have a question. Short Amsterdam,
Yes.
where is that on the agenda? I've been told like the past 3 years it was going to be coming and if weather permitted, and it seemed like the weather was never permitting anything. And it is slowly deteriorating even worse than before. There are several potholes over there that I think you tried to fix because there was one huge big pothole that I fell into with my car just coming down there yesterday, day before. It is a highly traveled road by many, many cities. Many people use Short Amsterdam, and it needs to be repaid. Is that going to be on the docket for April?
Yes, as of right now, the potholes got fixed today. I know that there were 2 potholes down there that we fixed today. And then we are still on the schedule for April.
So is it definitely first on the agenda? Because the potholes were pretty bad. I
What
think we're
they're-
able to address them.
What they're
That's all.
telling me is we're up for April. That's what they're telling me.
April's, they're going for April.
That's what they're going for,
Thank
yes.
you very much.
Mhm.
Cross your fingers on that.
Yes.
That's
Well, I
not
don't
a
want to cost
guarantee.
anything. It
Right.
has to be done.
And
We've
it-
got multiple neighborhoods coming in using that street. That's their way in and out. That's my life. And it needs to be fixed.
Tanya, one more thing. At the end of Harris, where they put the mesh and the straw down, it's nothing but just mesh down there in mud.
Okay.
And I believe, after thinking about it, I believe that's where you push your snow up there, and when it melts, I'm assuming the salt's probably what's killing that. So, we've had 2 pretty bad winters, but if you don't mind taking a look at that, I appreciate it.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Anything else for Director Miller?
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Director Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have 3 things on my report, one of which Director Miller talked about, and that was the restrooms are open at the park. We are looking at a year-round solution, whether that's putting heat into those bathrooms or maybe some portalettes with some screening or something so that, because even in the winter, there's still nice days and people go up there and play on the playground and they walk around on the track, the path and that, so we're looking at something year-round on that. Remember, elections are this year. The deadline to register is the first Tuesday in June. If you are interested in running for councilors or mayor, I highly recommend that you go to the Secretary of State site and start that process. Last thing I have, you may have seen on the sign last week, the high school team from the ice rink, actually won the state of Kentucky's hockey tournament. They then went to the national tournament up in, I think it was Plymouth, Minnesota. Don't quote me on the city, where they made the Final Four. They did lose that next game, but the first time that they've had that great of success. So that's, I know that I believe the team captain lives in Crescent Springs, and one of the key players lives in Villa Hills. And I know on their Facebook page there's a story about the goaltender who was basically told he would never skate. He had some medical issue. I don't remember what it is, but now he's a great goalie in the high school league. So a job well done to the hockey team from our ice rink. And that's all I have. Any questions? Mr. Dale?
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I only have one item now. April, I do have this right, as RF.
Yeah,
Floats, RFQ.
Are you talking about?
My
the notice of
report.
roof? When, invitation to bid?
Yes. So April has drafted several invitations for bids. It's obviously maintenance things within the city building here and also at the park. I mentioned already about the roof replacements, and if you haven't noticed, the front door needs replacing. It has aged a lot over the last few years. On top of that, we want to make that ADA accessible. It should be, and we would like to get that done either on this next budget or the budget following that. City building windows and obviously the sound system at the park. And what we want to do is take these proposals in, if we get any back on each topic, and figure out a wish list or a list that we can put together of what might work for the upcoming 26-27 budget. And if we need to put some of it in the 27-28 budget, we can do that as well. Yes.
Shouldn't we have a sound system for the chambers here? We've talked about that at the Communication Transparency Committee, and it seems to be just being put on hold. I would like to see the sound system put in our chambers rather than at the park. You can always just buy one that is movable. You would have to make all the wires and connections. Another thing that I want to ask about, if you did not mention it, but why are we not using our TV monitors to bring up our information that we're going to be presenting to the public and to those that are in attendance and to Crescent Springs Council? It's very helpful for me to be able to see that as you read it, rather than just off of here. Is that going to be fixable? Because I'm hearing it doesn't work right and it needs to be repaired.
We have bids for the sound system, and that we're reviewing the bids and going to make a decision on who to go with.
Well, I've heard that from all.
I will warn you, they come in quite high.
Well, we understand that, but
So
it
that
needs to
means
be
you
done.
have to be willing to sign off on that.
Well, I need to see what the cost is going to be and what we're receiving for the cost and do some bidding out there.
Well, the quotes have run from 20,000 up to 55,000.
Well, it needs to be done.
I'm just
That's it.
telling you,
It just needs to be, and these monitors need to be working too. And are they working tonight?
this monitor works.
Tonight?
Well, not tonight, but it does work.
Well, could we
I
use
was
it
obviously
tonight?
not up and running.
Send all the quotes, all the bids out to council.
Okay.
For this.
Yeah.
And we'll put down the agenda for next month.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next item is citizens' comments, and we've kind of split up citizens' comments into two sections. First part is anything that's on the agenda, and then later on, after we get through the reading of ordinances and municipal orders, for just general comments. So if there's anybody that would like to speak now about items on the agenda, which are the traffic pattern in the old Crescent Springs area, the budget for the fire department, the SWAT agreement, and another issue for the fire department. So if there's anybody who'd like to speak, yes, sir.
Evening, everybody. My name is Rick Lutz. I've lived out there on Watkins Street now for 45 years. I don't know how many times that area back here has been surveyed. I have a couple questions, if I may. When you make all these streets back here in the old section one way, how much are the signs going to cost us?
Tanya, how much are street signs?
Street signs, the one-way street signs are about, give or take, $45.
You know, along with the do not enter signs, correct?
Right.
Okay. We got to figure that all up. What I'm looking at is, okay, I've been getting these notices from city on February 2nd and February the 6th, March 16th, and March the 4th. What is phase one if you can't get the one-way streets?
There is no phase. If the vote tonight, we don't change the direct direction of traffic, we'll just have to do a simple street resurface, correct?
Yes. One street at a time.
One street at a time.
See, to me, that's just hockey. I don't know if anybody back there in Gold Saxon that wants one-way streets. I think that's something that came up here to the left hand, watch the left hand while the right hand does its thing. I think it's just getting a scam job back there in Old Crescent Springs. Nobody wants the one-way streets. There's not enough traffic back there to justify it.
Well, I disagree with you, sir. We've had people come here and speak at meetings and say they like the idea of one-way streets.
I haven't met them. Are they from back there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's great.
Oh, there's some in attendance.
Okay, and it is? What street?
I live on Ferncliff.
Ferncliff? Okay, I understand. So you want that to be a one-way?
Like this, sir? So this
No.
This is
I
a conversation between you and
That's
the
between
audience.
her. Okay. And if we do go with what does making one-way streets have to do with running water?
Because if we, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Daly, if we can make them one way, we have a way to put in curbs and gutters that will still allow traffic and on-street parking, and then defer the water into a drainage basin. Without that, if we have two-way, we don't necessarily have the width to be able to do that. Am I right, Director Miller?
No, it's 40-foot right-of-way. There's 40-foot right-of-ways on all those streets back there, but Euclid, which is a 50-foot right-of-way.
Well, we don't want to go and take everybody's front yard.
Well, you shouldn't have to. I've lived back there, okay? My street that I live on, Watkins, was paid for by the people that live back there. It wasn't put in here by the city. You know, and you've got more than enough room on Ferncliff to make it a two-way street. But then again, you're gonna put in a 20-foot street? Or are we gonna do like we did over on Horton and put out a bid for 20-foot streets and then give it to somebody with an 18-foot?
We haven't put out bids yet. The first we want to take care of the water, which is a problem back there.
I agree. One-way streets has got nothing to do with water. I've put in enough drainage systems in my lifetime to know that has nothing to do with it. All you have to do is figure out where you're gonna put them in at, and then run them. Then come in and put in your streets.
Okay? I appreciate your opinion.
I'm done. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Anyone else like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I guess somebody else wants to speak. My name is Michelle Hogan. I will speak only on behalf of my husband, not any other resident.
And what do you live on?
I live on 692 Ferncliff,
Great,
and I
thank you.
have a property on 2517 Estelle, so right in the corner. I personally am in favor of the directional changes. I don't know all the particulars about how it will impact specific people's properties and things like that, but from a practical standpoint, I think it makes sense in that neighborhood. There are actually a lot of cars that come down the hill. Safety is a big concern because a lot of the roads back there, it is difficult to pass two cars at one time. So I think from a practical sense, it makes sense, and I would urge City Council to vote for the directional changes so that we can proceed with the drainage issues. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Michael Ernst. I live at 707 Jefferson Street, Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Lived here for almost 31 years. As long as I've lived here, our street's never been repaved. It's never had new gutters. There's a culvert at the end of that street on each side. Okay, ever since I've lived there, that street leans towards my property. All the road water goes through my front yard. I rake the gravel at the end of my driveway to create a berm to push the water back to the street. Making Jefferson Avenue one way coming down is going to do nothing but restrict that street. That street is wider at the bottom coming in off of Estelle. To make that turn, you're talking about commercial trucks, fire trucks. The top of that street's a hard 90. You cannot make that swing with a big ladder truck or something like that with very much ease. At the other end of that street is there's a business there. There's a storm sewer on both sides of that street. But it's never been addressed. That street's never been blacktop. We have no sidewalks. And if you ever sit there and monitor that traffic, The traffic comes from Estelle and up Jefferson. I don't know why in the world you would want to make it come down, or any one of those 3 streets coming down one way. It makes no sense to me. And I think you guys need to focus your energy and your efforts on improving the streets, the pavement, the curbs, and the water drainage, rather than disrupting everybody's parking and flow of traffic, such as. They've added all these new, they changed, we had a daycare on that street, if you guys remember. Okay, now it's a 6-family apartment building. Okay, 6 family, if you got 2 drivers, do the math. Look at all the cars we got. So now you're gonna, there's not even sidewalks, and I came up and fought that, and you guys agreed to make it, an apartment building. So now you added traffic, we still don't have any sidewalks, we still ain't got no new pavement. The curbs are beat down, the water runs in everybody's yards. So I think you're focusing your efforts and your energy to the wrong area. Thank you.
Michael, where are you located? Which street?
707 Jefferson Street.
Thank you.
I've been there since, I got married in 95, I believe, and moved in 97. I lived in Fort Wright, was born and raised in Fort Wright. And I came here looking to get into a really good, I thought this was a good community, but disappointed in the city and the performance. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Kent Baker. I also live on Jefferson Street. The roads are certainly not good, and the storm water is not a good situation, but my understanding is the reason you can't make them 2-way is because you have to acquire land for the easement. Is that correct?
To make them wide enough to be able to, they have still a parked car and people go around them and all that. Yes.
Right. And I know you don't want to do that. You don't need to do that. There's not enough traffic back there for that. But the roads need to be fixed, and the stormwater needs to be fixed. The inconvenience of one-way streets is minor. You'll get used to that in a week. It won't take any problem. So I think it's work that should be done. If it's one-way street, that's fine with me.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else would like to speak on an agenda item?
Thank you, thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak.
Identify yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Bob Flaherty.
And you live on Crossings Drive,
I
correct?
do,
Thank
I
you.
do, close to where you live.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I am here regarding the proposed $120,000 budget amendment related to the Fire Authority Fire Services. I have requested from Finance Chairman Mark Wurtenberger to provide by line item a breakdown of the proposed $120,000 amendment, which has not yet been provided. I am again requesting tonight a clear breakdown of this amount, including the number of full-time personnel, full-time salaries, part-time personnel, part-time salaries, and associated benefits. This council is being asked to approve a significant expenditure of taxpayer funds. That responsibility requires transparency and sufficient detail to make an informed decision. When this information was requested, I was directed to obtain it from the Fire Authority. However, this this body, not the fire authority, is being asked to approve this funding. Oversight cannot be delegated. As Finance Committee Chairman, Councilman Mark Wurtenberger has a responsibility to ensure that this council has the necessary financial detail before a vote is taken. Without that information, the council cannot fully exercise its fiduciary duty to the public. I respectfully request that this ordinance 2026-3 regarding this $120,000 budget amendment not be approved until a full breakdown and justification is provided and entered into the public record. I am asking to place in the record and in the minutes this particular request. Can you give that to the clerk, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else have any questions? No.
We'll be ready with it. All right. All of you. I'll be brief.
Your name, please?
I got you, Mayor. My name is Brian Barclay. I live on Cary View Drive, own property on Enid Avenue. Okay, so two things for the traffic pattern. I just want to dispel some misinformation that was out there. I do not live in Old Crescent Springs, but I do own property there. When I was on council, we had talked about this, and I was the one that made the motion to start the committee to bring this entire process to light. I did not want any of this to be done behind closed doors by the engineering firm through the city administrator without residents being able to have their opportunity to come in and speak. So I'm really happy to see everybody here. Personally, I'm in favor of the one-way, but that's neither here nor there. Going on to the fire department annual budget, I also sit on the Crescent Villa Fire Authority. I will say that Mr. Flaherty made a great speech, obviously prepared remarks, which I don't have. But that meeting happens, it's wide open, anybody can attend. I haven't seen Mr. Flaherty there in 3 years. If he has any questions, we have part of the fire authority here. If this council has any questions, we have part of the fire authority here to answer any questions. Going down to the new business, authorizing the hiring of full-time staff, I think it's important for this chamber to remember that Villa Hills and Crescent Springs funds the fire department, okay? The chief, through contract for services right here, which is on file, has autonomy to run that fire department as he sees fits, which includes staffing. The chief, when we funded this, made a best projection that he needed 8 firefighters to run an effective fire service, which, by the way, we have an awesome insurance rating. Okay, you're not going to get services better than what we offer for the size of the department we are. Second to that, he can go through, and we hired 8. 8 wasn't the number, guys. It wasn't. We didn't know what we were standing up, and we learned as we went. We adjusted, and we did what we could. The number went to 10. Part-time folks fell off. Chief had the opportunity to hire a duly certified full-time employee. He hired him. Again, autonomy in this contract to run it as he needs. The budget amendment is to try to slow down payroll and to stop overtime, and to fund the overtime, excuse me. The full-time employees One full-time firefighter, even with benefits, is about equal to 2 part-timers when you start paying this overtime. I don't know how many of you, every time you spend $1, like to put $1.50 on the table, but that is what is happening with overtime right now. This is an attempt to continue to refine the operating model and not save lives. They're not filling potholes. They're answering the phone call when you need service. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Vince Albanese. I live at 640 Lake Ridge Court. For those of you who don't know me, I am a 2-term ex-councilman. They booted me out. They just didn't. Yeah. They were tired of me. So at any rate, I want to just I agree with what Bob has said. You know, as council people, we do need a complete accounting so that we can see and get the right, you know, to make sure our money is being spent, you know, the best way. Now, I haven't, unfortunately, been up to any of the fire meetings, and I haven't been up to many of these meetings. So, you know, I don't know all the information, but my understanding is neither do you. And that, you know, all I'm asking is that you get the complete information before you make your decision. The last thing I want to ask is the lawyer a question before. Let me wake him up over there. Yeah. If there's a 3-3 tie and it comes down to the mayor breaking that tie, because he is on the fire department, is he recused from that? From being able to vote?
I'm not on the fire department.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Not any longer?
I've been off the fire department since 2006, I believe.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Okay. Well, that was just the only question I had. Mike, you can go back to relaxing.
I listened to everything you said.
Thank you for your time.
If you call me Sleepy Mike, I'm gonna come down.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
my name is Sue Cassidy. I live on Clairland and Emerald Springs condominium. I'm also the current chair of the Fire Authority. I was at a meeting in January of this year when our treasurer, Jim Cahill, who's also here, presented this to the commission. It was on the screen, as I recall, but it was the proposed budget amendment request. Original projected budget amendment, and amended budget. This is how long we've been talking about this. I'm happy to leave this copy again with you all, but this was presented to the council at the January caucus meeting of this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Debbie Manier, M-I-N-E-R. I live at 643 Euclid. I want to say that I'm all for the one-way streets. I live on Euclid, it goes around like this. I try to walk the dog, I had to jump in people's yards because I've almost gotten hit. And also the water. I live in Euclid, and the water from Audrey comes rushing down, and I've had my garage flood from the water. So I'm all for taking care of the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So the information passed on. I put it on the, by Councilwoman Smith.
Councilwoman Smith, can you pass it to Mr. Wartenberger?
Get a copy of this, please.
That's the only copy I have of it, I'm sorry.
We can send another copy out.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, that ends the citizens' comment, so we're on to old business. Second reading of ordinance 2026-2, designated traffic patterns for various streets within a portion of Old Crescent Springs.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2026-2, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, designating traffic pattern for various streets within a portion of, quote, Old Crescent Springs, unquote, including Audrey Terrace, Euclid Avenue, Estelle Avenue, Jefferson Street, Gibson Place, and Enid Avenue. Whereas council confirmed appointments to the Old Crescent Springs Study in Municipal Order 2025-11, and whereas the committee has met and reviewed various documents and information and heard from residents of the City of Crescent Springs, known as Old Crescent Springs, and whereas the committee now recommends to council that a traffic pattern be reset for the following streets: Audrey Terrace, Euclid Avenue, Estelle Avenue, Jefferson Street, Gibson Place, and Enid Avenue. And whereas said traffic pattern recommendations have been placed on a map completed by the city engineer and incorporated herein by reference. And whereas after hearing in open forum comments from residents of the city regarding the proposed traffic pattern and necessary changes having been made, now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the city council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the traffic map of Old Crescent Springs area for the following streets: Audrey Terrace, Euclid Avenue, Estelle Avenue, Jefferson Street, Gibson Place, and Eden Avenue is placed on the Old Crescent Springs traffic pattern designed by the city engineer and incorporated herein by reference, be and hereby is adopted as if fully set forth herein.
You all heard the reading there. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to ask that ordinance 2026-2 to be tabled until infrastructure improvements are realized and put on paper plans, as well as an estimate for the road improvements, because I don't believe we've seen any numbers as far as what this project may or may not cost. So I'd ask that also that a survey be sent out to all the residents living on the proposed one-way streets to see if the majority are on board with it. I believe, what are there, six or seven streets over there? There was a proposed one-way, so I don't think it'd be too much to ask that another survey just specifically asking, would you want one-way streets? And just postpone this for, maybe till caucus or next meeting, see what the results are, and then we can move on from there. But I would like to see what the cost of the potential, upgrades to the infrastructure would cost and or the road improvements before we even think about moving this forward with the city engineer. I don't think that's too much to ask. But, I know you all have put a lot of work into it, Tanya and Mike and all you all, but I think that the first step should be at least getting some numbers together.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to table? Roll call, please.
Mark Wurtenberger.
Yes.
Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Don Kiley.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
What am I, do we exactly again, please?
To table
Table, I'm saying
this.
yes.
Carol McGowan.
No.
That is 4-2, so that is tabled.
So just another question on that. Is there any way we can fix some of the water issues before we go to a one-way street?
That's a question for Director Miller and the city engineer, because I'm not. But the goal is to, make repairs to fix instead of patch wheeling it.
Yep.
But, we'll ask that in the, what we ask the city engineer what the cost would be, and
I appreciate you all looking into that. Thank you.
second reading of ordinance 2026-3, amending the annual budget for the fiscal year July 1 through July 30, 2026, for an additional $120,000 to the Crescentville Fire Authority.
Ordinance 2026-3, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, amending the annual budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, to appropriate an additional $120,000 for the Crescentville Hills Fire Authority. Whereas the city adopted an annual budget in ordinance 2025-4 for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. And whereas the Crescentville Hills Fire Authority has appeared before council and explained that unexpected increase in expenses has been incurred due to larger than anticipated number of emergency runs and other expenses incurred by the fire authority. And whereas council has reviewed the requested additional increase in contribution by the city of Crescent Springs and the city of Villa Hills, so that the fire authority can meet its expected duties for the citizens of both cities. And whereas additional resources for the fire authority are necessary during the current fiscal year, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that in addition to the sums appropriated in the budget as enacted and approved in Ordinance 2025-4, an additional $120,000 is authorized to be expended to the Crescentville Hills Fire Authority for the unexpected expenses that have occurred in this fiscal year. This ordinance shall become effective upon enactment. The invalidity of any section of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other portion of the budget as approved in Ordinance 2025-4.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, one more time, I hate to be the bad guy here, but as I stated in a letter that I sent to the mayor, I am sending more or less a complaint regarding the hiring of the extra firefighters, whether they're needed or not, regardless. I believe that the passing of ordinance 2026-3 and the municipal order, which is coming up here later, 2026-3 is rewarding the Crescentville Fire Authority rather than disciplining them for their breach of contract. I'm just thinking that they should have followed the proper channels when they hired, and I know that both ordinances, there was a contradiction there, but in paragraph 2 of both of those ordinances, it clearly states that the fire authority needs to come through both councils for those extra hirings or any hirings. So I just wanted to state that. And, you know, we can always talk about, hey, you know, one was an ordinance and one was a municipal order. But, and then of course the language taken out at the bottom, but that middle language in that second paragraph says it all. It says that the fire authority has to come through both councils in order to hire extra people. So I just want to throw that out there. You know, you can twist it any way you want, but these two boards, Council of Crescent Springs and Villa Hills, needs to make those recommendations or authorize those hirings. So you can spread it out however you want, but that's the basis of those ordinances and or municipal order.
Do we have an ordinance, or is this just a discussion?
Yeah. There's no motion made.
Yeah, what was the motion?
A motion?
You did not make a motion, correct?
No, I'm just stating that I believe that we should, I'm just not going to pass it because I believe that there was some wrongdoing going on there. And, you know, this is more or less, like I said, we're rewarding them instead of disciplining. I don't know if you took my complaint serious or not, but I'm sure you probably did. But, you know, something needs to be done, whether both of these directives be put in an ordinance where there is some backbone, where if they do this again or whoever would do it again, that there could be some ramifications on that.
Well, I did take your letter that you want me to send I think you called it a breach of trust.
That's correct.
I reviewed that with legal counsel. I will not be sending that. So I did take it seriously. I've spoken with Mike Baker about this to great length, I won't be sending that.
Okay.
You voting how you want to vote is your prerogative.
Sure.
And, you know, so you, I mean, everybody will be on the record with how they vote and that. Then, you know, yes, it can be spun many ways, but
Sure.
here's the thing. We need the fire department, we need the ambulance services.
Sure.
So,
But they just broke procedures, all I can say, that's clearly in both of those,
and we're trying to fix that with the second ordinance that we are here in the second part, so.
right. But like I said, that's more or less saying, hey, we made a mistake, but that's a huge mistake in my book. I mean, that's big dollars, and I don't believe it was a mistake. I think they said, hey, we need 3 more people, we're gonna do it regardless of what these councils are gonna say. Why did they bring it? Bring it up to us.
And I disagree with that, but we can argue all night about it.
Sure. Well, let me ask, and I do want to ask one last question, and we can go with
We
it.
need to know if we have a motion.
He said no.
in a second.
No,
He said no
motion.
motion.
I'm just complaining.
So then, what's on the floor is whether someone wants to move to adopt this in a second, and then you can make your point.
Okay.
Procedure.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-3.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Now, sir.
Discussion.
What? No, we have discussion.
Discussion. Yes, I also give my reasons.
Ms. Smith, one moment, please. Mr. Smith had something else he wanted to add.
Yeah, well, just the fact that, you know, we have municipal orders, and their purpose is to direct the city operations to ensure the proper use of funds. They're also considered formal directives used for administrative, contractual, and operational decisions, and they more or less manage the city finances and revenue. And the fact that they, like I said, went around the procedure, to me, something needs to be done, and whether it be put it in an ordinance or whatever, you know, this needs to be corrected. And the fact that we're saying, okay, you've messed up, we're gonna go ahead and give you the money, and then we're gonna give you authority to continue to hire, that ain't fixing the problem. That might be fixing the fire department's problem, but that's not fixing our problem. So that's my 3 cents.
Thank you. Ms. Smith.
Yes, my reason is, for the record, whereas the Crescent Springs Villa Hills Fire Authority budget amendment requested an increase of $80,000 to $120,000. That was an increase of $40,000. It is my fiduciary responsibility, which is according to KRS 91A-060, to request a line item documentation as listed below. Number 1, the number of full-time firefighter positions funded. Number 2, the total salaries all allocated for all full-time firefighters. Number 3, total benefits allocated for full-time firefighters. Number 4, the number of part-time firefighters positions and the total salaries allocated for part-time firefighters. Number 6, total benefits allocated to all part-time firefighters. Number 7, documentation explaining the basis for increasing the original request from $80,000 in 1 week to $120,000, which is another increase of $40,000, I will remind you. Number 8 is a detailed income and all expenses and a breakdown of the revised request. Number 9, financial justification for the addition of the additional $40,000, which was basically given to us within 1 week. A comparison of the projected financial allocations under the $80,000 versus the $120,000 revised request, including all anticipated surpluses or deficits, excuse me. The justification, again, for additional $40,000. That is, I repeated that earlier. The rest is made to ensure complete compliance with the KRS 91A-006 to support legislative decision-making, complete documentation for the public records. And number 13, include any and all responsive dedicated documentation in the City of Crescent Springs official records in compliance with open records request. These documents are requested for the ongoing of transparency, communication, and oversight. It is my legal responsibility to the citizens of Crescent Springs to understand and validate why my vote is going to be a negative or a positive one. Open government is my mission and is my passion. The people have a right to know. Janine Bell Smith, Crescent Springs Councilwoman, Monday, March the 23rd, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
120,000 isn't just for employees. We got a public bill coming. That paper that's being passed around explained the money. And I can't understand because what I believe was an honest mistake, and the chief was only trying to save money by hiring a full-time versus 2 or 3 part-times. Why would you punish the city for something that didn't cost extra money? Punishing the city, because right now if they don't get extra money, they might have to take an ambulance off the road. And I don't think you can stand them in the corner any more than what someone's trying to do now by publicly putting them down. I tend to think that the money that is in that pile for the $120,000 was justified, just like Sue Cassidy said. We all had the information. Maybe we didn't have the exact dollar amount for everything. Can I ask the chief one question, the fire chief?
Yes.
Approximately, what does 300 hours of overtime cost you?
We just did the figures today, I believe. For the year, we were at $170,000.
So that might be the $40,000 difference easily. The overtime, because if I'm not mistaken, someone had a heart procedure, somebody had another procedure, 3 people were down at the same time, am I correct?
That's correct.
So they had to pay overtime. It had nothing to do with hiring people or not. Yes, they hired people without coming to our council and asking us. But it was to save them the city money, and he could have easily have been looking at the Villa Hills ordinance and not ours, because originally it was in ours, but a former council member that now lives in Villa Hills was the one that requested it to be taken off. There's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
So you're justifying them breaking municipal order 2026-4?
No, I'm not saying it was right at all, but I don't think you should punish the city for it. The one that comes in later on, that's the municipal orders that's trying to correct it.
Well,
What do you want to do to them, Jeff?
My main beef is why would we advise, you said you've been on since January. Why didn't you advise us that they were going to hire 3 more people? I mean, it was been simply said,
When were
hey.
they hired, chief?
Please?
They were hired between July and October.
Thank you.
July,
It was a done deal.
Well, it was a done deal, exactly. Why weren't we advised? Let me ask you this. Let me ask this body one more question, and I'll be quiet about this issue, and include the mayor and Mr. Daly. How many people on this board was not aware of the hiring of the 3 additional firefighters prior to the last meeting? Raise your hand if you did not know. So everybody else here knew except for us 3. That's ridiculous.
It'd be interesting, how did Mr. Wartenberger know about it? He doesn't go to
I
the
have no
fire
idea.
committee.
You asked.
It was discussed in meetings.
It was discussed.
It was not documented, and that is an error. Yes, it absolutely was an error.
That's what I'm getting at.
And it was not documented, but it was discussed how many people they had.
Well, there wasn't no discussion about people.
So you're gonna punish the whole city?
What am I saying?
If you vote no, that's what's gonna happen.
I'm not saying anything about punishing the city, so I don't know where you're coming up with that. All I'm saying is that whoever did the hiring, whoever overstepped their boundary needs to be reprimanded. And if it's just a letter, so be it. But they just shouldn't have to walk away.
Councilman
You're a
Smith,
city employee. Are you a
Councilman
city
McGowan.
employee?
Mayor, may I?
I'm sorry?
May I say something?
Yes, please.
So it's me that chose to hire the extras. It is not extra employees, okay? It's reallocating the funds. And if you don't understand that I've explained this to you for the last 6 months, that the cost of paying overtime is much higher than us hiring full-time. The other thing is the contract that between the fire department and the cities gives me the authority to hire full-time. And it says it right here. And if you haven't read it, then shame on you.
Well, I have read what the legal documents say. It says that you, fire authority, not you, but the fire authority has to come before the councils, both councils, not just this one, for you to hire. That's
not
what
what
it
the
says.
contract between the fire
Well, I know
department
about
and
the
the city.
contract. They haven't supplied.
You're in breach of that contract.
Well, I'm not. I'm
let's
just
let
saying, he's trying to justify his, whatever they did illegally, and I'm telling you that they breached that contract.
Your point is well documented.
Thank you.
Did Mr. Baker clarify, was that illegal, what happened?
Oh, I'm not jumping.
Mr. Mueller, your comments.
I think one of the things we did at the caucus meeting was try to separate the short-term need for this fiscal year from a lot of what I think we're talking about here, which is about how does the fire service, EMS service run? How do the two cities participate in that model? How's the model working? How's the funding working? And so in the short term, I would say they're asking for money that the existing budget didn't cover to pay for unforeseen expenses that include some, I'll just call it payroll, be it full-time, part-time, almost becomes murky. But it's also equipment, insurance, you name it. So it's a duck soup of expenses. And so if that is the ordinance before us, I would ask us to think about that for this vote. For the larger picture, and as well as the hiring of the staff, that's to correct an agreed upon error in the ordinance and compliance with it. Separate from this short-term solution to provide funding for this fiscal, I think Mr. Flaherty, Mr. Albanese, and probably other people are thinking, you know, we're not asking for unreasonable levels of detail to know what's behind a large amount of money that we're spending. And I've honestly found Jim Cahill to be very forthcoming anytime we've asked for that detail. Up to this point, I don't know that we've ever asked for it in that level of detail. We've had a model that's worked for a long time and has sufficiently funded that model for quite a long time. Well, that model has sort of run its course in a way. And so that's why I'm hoping we can focus on the short-term budget question and request. And I agree, commit to, call it the follow-up conversation being how do we revisit transparency and funding, communication, etc. I'll stop there.
Can I answer her question?
Yes.
I didn't mean to be glib. What you've heard tonight are varying versions of the same documents, of which reasonable minds can differ. And when you ask me that question, what you're really asking me is to be the judge and the jury. I'm not the judge and I'm not the jury. And I don't want anyone in this room, I almost said courtroom, to believe that is the remedy, because courtrooms, frankly, will make everybody in this room lose. They're expensive. But what has emerged tonight is that there is a difference of opinion. And I think both sides make valid points for what it's worth. But to conclude one way or the other that there's been a breach, or that it's illegal, I certainly believe is premature at best, and not necessarily focused on the issues that Mr. Mueller has raised. So if you thought I was too glib, I apologize for that. I just want to make sure that it's not a crystal clear answer one way or the other, frankly.
Thank you.
We are not asking to go against the fire department or the EMS or the police department. These are essential services for Crescent Springs. But what we are asking, would you please give us oversight, transparency, communication, because that has not been happening in this council for quite a long time. Not that I want to step on anybody's toes. I love the police, I love the fire department. But we just are asking, we need to know what you want the money for and how it's going to be spent. If somebody's going to do any work in my home, I want to know what they're going to do and how much they're going to pay. They just don't come in and say at the end of the project, well, this is what you owe. Well, I don't know what you did. So that's what we're asking for, transparency, and somebody has to do oversight. And I think that's what some of our council people are trying to do. And that's a question that needs to be answered, and that we need to have questions and we need to have answers every single time from this moment on. Just tell us what we need to do and why we need to do it. And I basically wrote it down I can give you a copy of this if you so choose. I have extra copies, why we are doing it, and we want to know these line item things. Once we get that information, then we can have the ability to basically make a definite concern, definitive concern, and evaluate what is right and just. Maybe remove some, move some, or maybe go along with the whole thing. Not against the fire department, I'm not against the police department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, is this from you, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Mike did summarize, I think, some time ago, what was behind the budget amendment request. I think we all did get a copy. Yes. And I don't know how much more detail there is. I mean, if there is, that's great. But it pretty clearly broke out what was driving the 120. That, am I saying that right?
You are correct. I've emailed it, and I've also mentioned it at a prior council meeting, maybe a caucus meeting.
It's this document. It lists all the things.
Specific to this ordinance tonight.
Yes.
So for me, I don't think people are questioning this. I think it's more the ordinance that we didn't vote on. Correct? Correct.
And I think we can cover that in the municipal order discussion. Am I, is that wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, that's a valid point, and I think Jeff has kind of said, hey, look, the buck stops here. But again, I think if we can separate that from the budget amendment request, that might help, because I think we may feel differently about the money versus municipal order.
Any other comments?
Just one more quick question to the chief. Are the guys that are coming into the city working part-timers, are they receiving overtime?
Yes.
The part-timers are receiving overtime?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody that works over 40 hours in the state of Kentucky is eligible for overtime.
Okay, regardless of which city they work for?
Yes. They work for you.
Okay, but I'm just saying that if they work for Erlanger for 40 hours or 60 hours, and then they come over here and work for 10, you're still gonna pay them
That
overtime?
question makes no sense to me. They only work for the Crescent Springs, Bill Hills Fire Department. If they work over 40 hours, they get overtime.
No,
So
I'm
if they
saying-
work at Erlanger is a full-time job, and then they come to Crescent Springs, that is based on the 40 hours they work at Crescent Springs or over.
Each employer, 40 hours. So if they work 40 hours in Crescent Springs and 40 hours in Erlanger, there's no overtime.
Well, no,
If they work 40 hours in Erlanger and 10 hours in Crescent Springs, there's no
There's
overtime.
no, that's what I was getting at. I think he confused my question. So if they work.
They have to work 40 hours or more for the Crescentville Fire Authority to get overtime pay.
Yeah, they gotta be 40 hours here, but I'm just saying, so personnel from Erlanger can't come over here after they work 40 hours and work.
At an overtime rate?
and get overtime. Okay. that's
Unless they
fine.
work more than 40 hours here.
I just wanted to make sure part-timers weren't getting overtime.
They can if they work
If
over
they,
40.
if
Right.
If they work more than 40 hours, they can. Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yep. Roll call, please.
Mark Wittenberger,
Yes.
Jeff Smith,
No.
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Don Kylie,
No.
Janine Bell Smith,
No.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
That is a 3-3 tie. I will break the tie with a yes. Ordinance 2026-3 passes.
Can I ask one more quick question, Mayor? I know somebody brought up the question, were you a firefighter? But are you still a member of the fire department?
I'm an honorary member.
Okay. So I'm just, should he have reclused himself as being an honorary member? Okay. Just wanted to get that clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Now that it's been approved, can we still get the information that I have requested and Mr. Flaherty has
Sure,
asked for
we'll
too?
get with the
Can you get
chief.
that so we understand what we're paying for and why we're paying for it? I think once we get that information down, this would not be an issue. It was the lack of oversight, transparency, and communication.
And I'm trying
What's
to
happening.
answer, yes, we will get with the chief and Mr. Cahill and work on getting that information for you.
I like Mr. Cahill, I like the fire authority, I like what we're doing, but we just want to know what we're paying for and the reason why.
Perfect. New business, municipal order 2026-2, an interlocal agreement to join the Northern Kentucky Special Weapons and Tactics.
Municipal Order 2026-2, a municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, wherein City Council authorizes the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement for Northern Kentucky Special Weapons and Tactics, SWAT, Inc. Whereas a revised interlocal agreement has been submitted to multiple government entities throughout Kenton and Campbell counties, including the cities of Ellesmere, Ludlow, Taylor Mill, Villa Hills, Fort Thomas, Crescent Hills, and the counties of Kenton and Campbell, so that a newly formed multi-jurisdictional special weapons and tactics unit, SWAT, is created to replace NKERU, and which was agreed to in 2013. And whereas the City of Crescent Springs finds that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the city to join with other cities in Kenton and Campbell counties and Kenton and Campbell counties to create such a unit for the protection of its citizens, and said authority being authorized pursuant to KRS 65.210 through 65.300. Now therefore be it ordered by the mayor and the city council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the city hereby authorizes the mayor to enter into the interlocal agreement for Northern Kentucky Special Weapons and Tactics, Inc. to replace the NKERU. The mayor is authorized to sign any necessary document for the City of Crescent Springs to be a participant under the terms of the interlocal agreement. The interlocal agreement is attached here to and incorporated herein by reference.
Thank you very much. Chief Hall, if I'm correct, we were part of the NKERU. This is a reorganization, renaming type thing of the same organization.
It's the
correct?
same organization. You've just gotten a lot, it's gotten bigger, it's expanded from where they've changed a couple different times. Different amendments have been made over the interlocal agreement over some time. The biggest precipitating factor of this was the retirement of Sheriff Korsenborn, as he was the chief executive officer of the SWAT team that is now, with their bylaws, now switched over to Sheriff Jansen with Campbell County, where Sheriff Heeman is now the deputy director. So they've just asked all the cities to now basically go back, its name change, clean up the language of it and everything like that through these municipal orders with each city. That we are currently a part of it, we have been previously.
Any questions?
Well, I do have a question. I was at a meeting with Steve Hensley, Homeland Security Director for Kent County, and I asked him the cost for the fee. I'm not against the SWAT. I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm 100% for it. I'm just curious that we've never been told the cost or the fee. I did talk to Steve Hensley, and he said he would send me all the additional information that I requested. This was just on Saturday. So do you have that information available for us today?
Each city is $4,500 that we pay.
$4,500?
Yes, ma'am. Now that is to be part of that interlocal. Just keep in mind, if we are not part of the interlocal agreement. Now Villa Hills passed the ordinance last week, or passed the municipal order last week on their end. We are part of that with the city of Villa Hills. If you're not part of that agreement and you don't want to sign that, basically what it comes down to is a cost. And if we have a SWAT situation in the city, the estimated cost of a SWAT call out is between $20,000 and $30,000, and the SWAT team they can actually come back and request the entire fund being refunded.
And Steve Hensley did tell me that. He gave me quite a bit of information, but he said that he would give me black and white documentation, and I said thank you very much because I wasn't aware of the cost. So this will be $4,500 a yearly, and that I think that is a good thing because if something does come up and we know what's going on in our state and in our country, it's a good thing.
Absolutely agree.
And I know some of the people that are on this SWAT team because they've spoken to the
and we do have a member on the SWAT negotiation team, so we do have a member.
Who is that?
It's Sergeant Black.
I sure like to say hi to him, and
He's usually here at these meetings, but since baseball season started up, he's coaching his.
He's here, yes, he's a big guy too.
Yep.
Okay, I support everybody here, but we just want to know what it's going to cost and what we're paying for.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. No problem.
Any other comments on 2026-2? I'll take a motion to approve. Don Kylie made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mark Wartenberger,
Yes.
Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Don Kylie.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
Yes.
Carol McGowan.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Lastly, new business, municipal order 2026-3, authorizing the hiring of full-time staff by the Crescentville Fire Authority.
Municipal Order 2026-3, a municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, authorizing the hiring of full-time staff by the Crescent Villa Hills Fire Authority. Whereas the cities of Crescent Springs and Villa Hills, together with the Crescent Springs Volunteer Fire Department, entered into an interlocal agreement to establish and fund the Crescent Villa, it says Fire Authority, it's Villa Hills, Fire Authority, I'll fix that. And whereas the interlocal cooperation agreement requires the consent of the legislative bodies of both cities before the Crescent Villa Fire Authority can hire full-time staff, and whereas the current labor market and shortage of trained individuals has made it very difficult to hire and retain part-time staff, including trained firefighters/EMTs, but especially trained part-time firefighters/paramedics. And whereas the Crescentville Fire Authority Board has requested from the cities the consent to hire full-time staff in order to attract and retain trained staff. Whereas council approved 8 full-time hires by the Fire Authority in Municipal Order 2024-5, and whereas the aforesaid municipal order conflicts with the municipal order passed by the City of Villa Hills, and council now desires to mirror the language of the municipal order authorized by the City of Villa Hills. Now therefore be it ordered by the mayor and city council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the Crescent Villa Fire Authority is hereby authorized to hire additional full-time staff as may be authorized in future years as part of the budget process. The mayor and city council hereby ratify the hiring of 3 additional full-time employees that the fire department hired since the adoption of Municipal Order 2024-5.
I could ask for one small tweak on where is Villa Hills, it was a resolution. We could just switch that, or I don't know if it makes a difference or not. But
It really doesn't make a difference, but we
Okay.
can correct the language that it reflects resolution rather than municipal.
Mr. Baker, the language in there regarding the difficulty in hiring people, whatnot, to me, that's just an opinion. Can that be stricken out of there?
That's more than a correction.
Okay.
You can make a motion, but that's more than a correction.
Okay. Can I make a motion that we remove that language? I don't have it in front of me, but you know what it says. As far as the difficulty in hiring people due to the economy and whatnot.
Second.
Like I said, I believe that's just an opinion and should be stricken.
I'm sorry. It's a motion to amend. So, what you voted on, and then depending upon what happens, they vote on.
Okay.
It's just a simple request to remove that language, not to remove anything else as far as.
Okay, so,
That would be the third paragraph. I think that's referring to.
yes, so, what I was clarifying with Mr. Baker here, the motion is to remove the 3rd paragraph and amend the ordinance. So we'll have a vote on that first, and then there will be a vote on the ordinance itself based upon the result of that vote.
And Mr. Baker, could you read that whereas one more time, just so it's clarified to what I'm talking about?
The paragraph that you're asking to be removed?
Yes, sir.
Whereas the current labor market and shortage of trained individuals has made it very difficult to hire and retain part-time staff, including trained firefighters/EMTs, but especially trained part-time firefighters/paramedics.
Correct.
Okay, we have a first and a second on that. Any other discussion?
I personally don't think it's opinion. I think it's been shown by example with our own fire department. It's hard to retain people, period.
That goes for every department.
Roll call, please. Again, this is to remove paragraph 3.
Mark Wartenberger,
No to the amendment.
Jeff Smith,
Yes.
Bob Mueller,
No.
Don Kylie,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
Yes.
Carol McGowan,
No.
Again, it's a 3-3 tie. I'm going to vote no and to leave it in the municipal order. Is there a motion to approve municipal order 2026-3?
I have a question beforehand.
Yes, ma'am.
In the last paragraph, where it states authorizing to hire full-time staff as may be authorized in future years, does that come into effect if you've got people in the pipeline, Chief Went, that you would like to hire because you can snatch them up as they're in training?
Doesn't.
So should it say future years or just in the future? This would be a future year if you hired them last year, so maybe it doesn't need to be changed.
The next sentence addresses the past year. I believe your comment, it's part of the budgeting process, so. I mean, if you want to move to delete that word, it's up to you as council.
Are we essentially making this municipal order mirror the city of Philadelphia?
That's the intent.
And so it would apply retroactively as well as going forward?
Well, again, the last sentence specifically ratifies that action because it's already occurred. So it's a separate act. It's essentially a separate action.
Can I ask the chief a question?
Yes.
Would this affect you, getting those people that are in on training?
No. So any future hires will be budgeted.
Okay. Delete my request.
Okay.
So then two, then with this municipal order, they would still, the fire authority would still have to come through both cities to hire additional employees.
That's part of the budget process.
Okay, but they would still need our consent.
They would come in if they come in and say, and I don't have the budget in front of me, if the budget was $100 and they say we need a budget of $200 because we're going to hire 2 people, that's coming before council, and we would either approve or deny the budget.
Thank you.
I have a revision for municipal order 2026-3. Can I present that now?
Sure.
Then ready to go? I basically sent this to Mr. Daly. Revisions of municipal order 26-23 shall be read as follows. Municipal order 2026-3, authorizing the hiring of only 3 new full-time staff. Any additional staff hires by Crescent Springs, Villa Hills Fire Department shall be approved by the City of Crescent Springs Council. The note, the revisions are to be made in the name of transparency, oversight, and communication. Municipal Order 2026-3 is misleading and open to the interpretation of giving a general conclusion that all new staff shall be hired by Crescent Springs Villa Hills Fire Authority without the approval of Crescent Springs Council. Municipal Order 2026-3 is an open-ended statement and is an affront to the legal powers of council. For the record.
Mr. Baker, am I right that the last paragraph of this municipal order addresses that because they have to come to the budget process and say they want to hire people?
That's the intent.
Yes. So they have to come to us for approval already, the way that it is written.
And I'll just make a comment. I don't know that we've agreed on the process, but if in the event that the 26-27 budget is being prepared, it's probably already in somebody's hands, and it has the ability in this coming year and future years to break out those staffing levels we're really asking for, that would be in the budget that's submitted.
Correct.
The council would get to vote on to approve or not.
Correct.
Okay, one more question. Does the next year's budget include 11 full-time employees?
It does.
Yes, okay, so it's already, next year's budget includes 11 full-time employees and the information they present to us.
I think these folks just want to see something more than one line that says full-time payroll or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Can I add my revision of municipal order 2623? Can I make a motion to do that?
You can make a motion to, I need to know, I mean, you had an idea in there, and then you had some justification in there, so what do you want the motion to say?
Well, I want to say that the municipal order 2623 authorizing the hiring of only 3 new full-time staff. We've got an issue about that. Any additional staff hires by the Crescent Springs Villa Hills Fire Authority shall be approved by the City of Crescent Springs Council. And I think that's been addressed multiple times because we had issues with this before where the 3 hires were hired without the approval of the council. I'm not against the 3 hires being hired, the new firefighters. They're very important to our services, but it has to go through council and get our approval.
That's part of the budget.
I have it right here if you want a copy.
It's part of the budget process.
If she wants to list it out, can we put that in there?
She can move to amend this specifically, put that in, and see what council wants to do.
Okay, so
Well, basically, you're just sticking with
You're-
the 2024.
you're double stating the thing. This is, so Councilperson Janine Bell Smith has a motion to amend. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Baker, can you read it how you believe it?
This is the last paragraph. Now therefore be it ordered by the mayor and the city council of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the Crescent Villa Hills Fire Authority is hereby authorized to hire additional full-time staff as may be authorized in future years as part of the budget process. Any additional full-time staff must be approved by city council of the city of Crescent Springs. The mayor and city council hereby ratify the hiring of 3 additional full-time employees that the fire department hired since the adoption of municipal order 2024-5. I believe that's what was asked.
And Mr. Baker, could that last portion, could that be put in a specific ordinance by itself and then we vote on this municipal order? And or that,
I don't know why we would need to put the same thing in 2 different orders.
well, not an order, but an ordinance to where as if they need to hire, they have to actually come through this, and if they don't, then there are ramifications of that.
I don't think the ratification requires an ordinance. I'll start with that.
Okay.
Can that be separated into another municipal order?
Okay, well, I'm just asking, but does it need it? I don't know. But,
I don't know. Well, I'm not going to say what needs. I mean, that's your view or someone else's.
Well, I'm just kind of looking at it like the hiring of the extra staff. Like I said, it's more or less rewarding them for just going around the council, but you know, we can vote on, you know, giving them that money, that's fine, but as far as the future hiring, you know, I think that should be in tandem with Villa Hills' ordinance, because will these be in tandem, will this municipal order 2026-3 be in tandem with Villa Hills and whatever they have?
Not with this amendment that Ms. Bell Smith has just requested.
Okay. But if it's not, then it will be.
If the municipal order is passed with the amendment that Ms. Bell Smith has requested and that she seconded, that will not be in conformity with Villa Hills resolution. No.
But written as is.
I believe it is.
Isn't.
I guess my question would be then, can we get in line with Villa Hills and have a specific ordinance regarding this issue? It mirrors each other. I mean, there's no differentiation.
That's where we were 2 years ago, and Councilman Schultz wanted to strip certain language, which brings us back to where we are tonight.
Right, and also this city's was a resolution, or I'll take that back, was a municipal order, and I believe theirs was a resolution. So there's a conflict there as well, I guess, isn't it? But I do know an ordinance does have more teeth, so.
An ordinance has more teeth. A
Right.
resolution and municipal order can be virtually the same.
Right, okay. So would that be out of line, asking for an ordinance from both cities regarding the hiring process? for.
I can't speak for Willow Hills, what they would want to do.
Right, and I don't want to make it difficult, but I do want it to be right.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment. I mean, they chose to do it by resolution. I'm going to defer to their council on how they proceed. This municipal order, as originally read, was intended to mirror that resolution. That's all I can tell.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor and a second to alter 2026-3 as Mr. Baker read. Roll call, please.
Mark Wartenberger.
No.
Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Bob Mueller.
No.
Don Kylie.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
Yes.
Carol McGowan.
No.
Again, a 3-3 tie. I vote no to not make that change. So currently it is as written. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve municipal order 2026-3.
Oh, second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mark Wartenberger.
Yes.
Jeff Smith.
Once again, I will say no due to the fact that I believe we're rewarding them for going around that ordinance.
Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Don Kylie.
No.
Janine Bell Smith.
No.
Carol McGowan.
Yes.
Once again, 3-3 tie. I vote yes to break the tie. Any committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, I got one.
Yes.
I had a resident reach out, I've already spoke to Chief Hall about in our safety committee meetings. We're looking at wanting a mirror to be put up at the end of Crescent Point in Amsterdam, making that left turn out onto Amsterdam. They said it's a tight blind spot.
Okay. And you're working with Chief Hall on that?
I'm working with Tanya.
Okay, great, thank you. Don, is there any progress on changes to the playground from that committee?
No, but that brings up a question for me. Where are we at with the playground?
You're the committee chair.
I know, but no, I'm asking about where we're at with the project getting reimbursed for it.
We're waiting for the state to send us back, to sign and send us back the deed restriction.
Okay.
So as soon as we get the deed restriction back and file it, I'll send it back to the state, and then they'll send reimbursement.
Okay. Do we know what that timeline process is?
When did we send that to the
A
state?
month ago.
Yeah,
Okay. And what was the amount on that?
249,000.
Okay.
So we are waiting for the state to give them a deed.
They're
They
waiting
have
for
to
them
sign
to.
off. They have to sign off on the
Excuse me,
deed restriction.
Would like to
Then
clarification
the
on
mayor
this.
signs off on it. I will record it with the Canton County Clerk. I will hand the recorded document back to April. We will send it to the state, and then that will generate the check.
So I guess my question then, what is the timeline on this? We've already waited over a couple of years now.
As long as it takes the state to sign off on the deed restriction. Because when April gets it, I assure you, we will expedite the recording.
And it's not a deed, it's a restriction that we have to keep it as a park and green space and such. It's
I
not-
understand.
They don't give a deed to the park.
Maybe we should go down in person and ask for the deed to be approved. Go down there sometime with these people in the face.
I don't know where you're going, Frankfurt, anymore,
Or
since the
we
Capitol's closed, to be honest, so.
Find the person who's basically has that position.
Are we gonna have a committee meeting, Don, soon on making changes to the,
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to schedule one, but I'm also concerned that we still don't have half the cost of the playground. So until I move forward with spending additional money, I want to see us get reimbursed for this first.
but we can start planning and get, talking about ideas as to what,
I mean, I agree with that.
as to what we might want there and,
Yep.
and that, so if you can work with April, get something on the books, I'd appreciate it. Any other committee reports? Any residents' comments on any other topic?
Yes.
Brian Barclay, Cariview Drive. I'm sure I'll be fast followed by one of my neighbors here after my comments. Thank you to the three that actually thought before they voted and used common sense. To that point, I'm speaking. It's my turn.
Let's not.
It's freedom of speech. I didn't cuss. I didn't threaten anybody. I'm speaking. It's my turn. So if you can't keep your counsel in order, then I will file a complaint. But this is my time to speak now, not his. Moving forward on that, Council Member J.B. Smith quoted a KRS that resident Flaherty quoted through an email, and she just signed her name on it. However, 91A060 is official depositories. It talks about putting money in banks and what banks you're allowed to use. It's irrelevant and clearly fed by residents versus your own thoughts. So those are the two. I cannot believe some of the things that I heard tonight. And I really appreciate Mark coming through and having common sense of this. So I appreciate everybody's time. And I'm really sorry that the city of Crescent Springs is subject to some of the stupidity that is heard. Actually, one other follow-up question to that. Mr. Baker, since everybody's budget hawking, I'd be curious to know what the legal expenditures are for the lawsuit that J.B. Smith and Jeff Smith are personally named in against the city, and what financial burden has been incurred because of that. I'm sure you don't have it at the top of your head, but I will look forward to that either via email or what have you, or open records request. I can do it that way if you'd like. So, thank you.
Mr. Barkley, and that's because we're concerned citizens like you aren't.
To the individual in the green hats.
Should not be discussed.
All I could see was the hat when you started to stand up. I apologize.
That's okay. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good. And your name?
My name is Michelle Thompson. I took some notes here because it's been a long day. I got hearing, my ears are clogged up, so I can't hear either. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
And where do you live?
I live on Forest Hill Drive.
Okay, thank you.
On the Crescent Springs side. Okay, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. My name is Michelle. I'm a resident of Forest Hill Drive. I'm here to address documented failure in our city's code enforcement process that resulted in my car being towed and seized on Saturday, January 24th. On that afternoon, my car was towed without notifying me on the street in front of my house. When I contacted dispatch and I asked if it was because of the snow emergency, I was told no, that they were not towing cars at that time, and that the tow was authorized because the vehicle had exceeded a 72-hour parking limit on the street. However, I've obtained police logs here from the previous morning on January 23rd at 9:11 a.m. where a responding officer explicitly reported that my car had been moved over the past 72 hours. Based on the officer's official verified report that the car had been moved, the 72 hours clock should have reset, correct?
I would think so. I'm not an officer, but yes, I would.
That's correct. Okay, cool. Okay, the open records that I obtained via the open record request revealed that the tow was not a random oversight. The process was initiated by a phone call to dispatch at 11:30 the morning it was towed, and a complaint from email from a council person to the police chief, saying that the complaint was that I had been a repeat offender and parked my car illegally on the street. I have all the notes here that said that it's every complaint that it has, it's come back and said that my car was compliant, it was not illegally parked. My phone just flew fast. Okay. Furthermore, the email chain that I've obtained here suggests that this was a snow emergency tow. I have video evidence taken at 2:30 that day, about an hour after my car was towed, that there were other cars parked on the street on the same stretch of Forest Hill Drive. None of those cars were ticketed and none were towed. That day's police incident log stated 32 complaints and only one car was towed, mine. All the complaints were made after my car was towed. Singling out one vehicle while ignoring the others is a definition of selective enforcement. Due to this process failure, we were forced to pay $395 to airport towing. That included a $195 towing charge, $135 in storage fees, because the facility was closed over the weekend. I could not pick it up till Monday morning, and a $65 administration fee. My husband had to take off work, and he had to dig the car out of the snow himself at the impoundment lot because they wouldn't do it for us. You'd think for almost $400 they could do that, but no. I am here to address the breakdown in protocol that permitted a council member's grievances to override official police verification. I'm requesting that the council take 3 specific actions. 1, to conduct a formal review of the communication between the city official, councilwoman, and the police department regarding this specific incident, to ascertain that the reasons why official logs were disregarded in favor of a complaints email and phone call. 2, I would like you guys to review the airport towings contract, specifically the focus on predatory nature of administration fees and storage charges incurred when a facility is closed. And 3, establish clear verification safeguards to ensure that no residents of Villa Hills is ever again subject to a seizure of a legally parked vehicle based on inconsistency or subject of enforcement. No citizens will be required to pay $395 and lose a day of work due to a preventable process. Do I have any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. It was not you.
I'm sorry?
Oh, go ahead. I said councilwoman. You're the only other woman there.
You said councilwoman in there.
Right.
I'd like for you to clarify if that was me or not.
It was not you.
Thank you.
Right at the very end, you said something about a resident of Villa Hills didn't have their car.
At the very end, what did I say?
You said a resident of Villa Hills, but I think you meant Crescent Springs.
Crescent Springs, yeah.
But you had Villa Hills Police, and I understand
I
how
said
that-
Crescent Springs, but yeah, it was Villa Hills Police I had to call. Yeah, when I spoke to the officer, I don't know, one of the officers, it was a couple months ago if they remember. I called a couple times because I was very upset because no other cars had been towed. They said that I had to call the police chief on Monday morning because he had multiple complaints from my neighbors about the car. I was upset. I thought it was a neighbor. Like, if I had a complaint with my neighbor, I could knock on the door, say, hey, you mind moving your car? But it was not a neighbor. So, is anybody familiar with Forest Hill Drive?
Mm-hmm.
So my house is the first, sits back, it's a flag lot. I share it with 2 other houses. We do not park right by the driveway because of the way the bend is. I do park it. I don't want to cause an accident. I make sure there's plenty of room to go around the bend for a car to go around. It's just somebody not having patience. And if it is an issue, then maybe it should have been addressed that no parking should be allowed there.
We will talk to the chief because a lot of these things are police department procedures.
Right, and like I said, I do have the record. I have names out of the last couple of years. It was just one person. There was one call was not from a council person, but every other one was a council person complaining about my car.
Okay. And we will work with the chief to see what we can do to address those items.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I do have one other thing, it's not to do with my car. What about sidewalks on Amsterdam? Are we ever gonna get that done?
That is a county project that we are involved with, Mr. Daly.
We are obviously partnering with Kenton County and Villa Hills on that project, and it's still there. It's going through. We've been accepted for one grant already, which that money has been utilized for the engineering study, and now another grant has been put in for down in Frankfurt as well.
Okay.
So yes, our hope is that we keep working at that. I know Judge Knockelman and Joe Schreiber, the county administrator, are big on the project, as is City of Villa Hills and the City of Crescent Springs. It'd be a great connectability.
Right, it's just, I see kids every day walking on the side of the road and it's bendy and it's, I think somebody mentioned Crescent Point. You got kids walking there. It's very dangerous. Do you need any of these, or I guess you can get
No,
them
ma'am,
yourself?
the chief's got everything we would need.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'll make it quick too.
You're fine.
Hi, I'm Melanie Russell, 735 Euclid. Just a couple quick questions. I heard that we all have a neighborhood representative. Is that true?
I don't believe that there's anyone on council that lives in your neighborhood.
Okay.
There's no, I mean, the city's not
Yeah.
precinct at all or something like that, so there's not anything that is neighborhood driven.
Okay.
Committee member. There's a committee member, it's Dick Burns, that is on the committee.
Mr. Flaherty? I'll answer, thank you.
All right, well, I'm just
I-
trying to help you out. Trying to help you out, sorry.
So the, council, there are no, there's no residents that are on council from that area. However, on that committee, there are two individuals, one that lives back there, Dick Burns. And Mr. Barclay also owns property there. So they're both connected with the area.
Okay.
I can tell you that Dick's a firefighter in Dry Ridge. I don't know if you know Dick or not.
Yes, he lives across the street from me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you know, he's on the committee.
So next question is, how does someone get onto the committee? Is that a voted in, or is that just like a volunteer, or how does that happen?
It was made an appointment. Appointments were made when we formed the committee. We're trying to keep it at a reasonable size because if you get too many people.
Yeah, too many folks. Yeah, I get you.
But if someone were to drop off, or if we felt that there was a need to add individuals.
Or like a need to just change the individual. I don't want, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna give specifics, but if there was a need to change the individual for some very specific reasons, would that have to come before council to get that changed, or how does that work?
It is a council appointed committee, yes.
Okay.
It's a public meeting.
Correct, and it is a public meeting.
Okay. I just didn't know, I was just curious how the whole thing, I tried to look online and I really couldn't find anything, and I was like, I'll just come up here and ask. Okay.
No worries.
All right, thank you, perfect, thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Anybody? Second? Thank you all. Meeting adjourned.